strikes against Iranian air defenses and drone sites. Alex Hogan has the latest.
U.S. Central Command made this announcement just hours ago, saying American forces carried out strikes this weekend, bombing Iranian radar and drone control sites in Gorak, Iran, and Qasem Island. And according to Central Command, the measured and deliberate strikes occurred on Saturday and Sunday in response to aggressive Iranian actions that included the shootdown of a U.S. MQ-1 drone that was operating over international waters. U.S. fighter aircraft swiftly responded by eliminating Iranian air defenses, a ground control station, and 2 one-way attack drones.
President Trump said over the weekend that Iran still wants to make a deal. But Tennessee Senator Bill Hagerty says there's still the question of who's in charge in Iran.
The regime is fairly discombobulated, as you know. That's why it's taken so long to negotiate anything. But President Trump has been clear. He wants this decision to be made by the Iranian people in terms of who will lead that country. I think we need to have an opportunity to see if we can get to a deal. And hopefully what we see is a resurrection of a country that has great economic potential.
As long as the war continues, Americans continue to see gas prices going up. National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett on the chain of events that will more quickly lead to lower oil and gas prices.
When you leave the Straits, then you can get to Pakistan almost right away. You can get to India almost right away. You can get to Korea, Singapore a little bit faster. But the point is, those are the places where the refineries had to shut down because they didn't have oil. And that's why diesel prices went through the roof and jet fuel prices went through the roof. And what happened with U.S. refineries is when they saw how much money they could make with diesel and with jet fuel, then they changed what they refined and refined less gasoline and more of the other stuff, which was so costly. As soon as the oil lands in Asia, then we expect those prices to reverse and gasoline production in the U.S. to go up.
Former First Lady Jill Biden continues to defend the pardon for Hunter Biden by her husband, Joe Biden.
Joe said in the beginning, I won't pardon Hunter, I won't pardon Hunter. But then when Trump was elected, things changed. And we knew that he would target Hunter. And we just could not let our son go to jail on a charge that no one would go, no one has ever gone to jail for.
But criminal defense attorney and Fox News contributor Ken Belkin says that's absolutely not true.
Joe Biden totally lacks credibility at this point. I said 2 years ago that Joe Biden was going to pardon his son. The reality is there's very few things that Hunter Biden has done that people don't go to jail for. And I just want to remind you, she's out there promoting her book. She made this comment about Joe Biden and Trump's debate. Then she said, oh, I was so scared that Joe Biden was having a stroke. Well, you say that now while you're promoting a book. But the night of the debate, you said, you did a great job, Joe. You knew all the facts. I think it's pretty clear he didn't even know what room he was in.
And finally, a former Iowa school superintendent who was in the country illegally has been sentenced to 2 years in prison.
Ian Andre Roberts was arrested in September of 2025. He likely faces deportation after the sentence is completed. Upon announcing his arrest, ICE described Roberts as a criminal illegal alien from Guyana who was found in possession of a loaded handgun, $3,000 in cash, and a fixed-blade hunting knife. At the time of his arrest, Roberts was working as the superintendent of Des Moines Public Schools. Jeff Stein is an attorney and radio host in Iowa. He said the prosecution asked for 3 years, while the defense wanted straight probation.
This is the judge sort of evaluating independently, recognizing that to simply let him leave and be taken back to Guyana to be deported without any prison time would send a very bad signal. I have a feeling that the prosecution asked for 3 years, figuring it might be something less. Given the totality of the circumstances, he had to do some prison time. You're not only talking about deception and fraud with regard to his academic credentials, but all of the weapons violations. Anyone else with similar charges would have wound up with prison time. It's a very consistent sentence for the jurisdiction.
I'm Chris Woodward.
For American Family News, I'm Steve Pugh.
The mission of American Family Association is to inform, equip, and activate individuals to strengthen the moral foundations of American culture and give aid to the church here and abroad in its task of fulfilling the Great Commission. Further, AFA believes this ministry, as well as everything in the heavens and on the earth, belongs to God, and AFA's role is that of a trusted manager.
Thank you for standing with the American Family Association.
Welcome to Today's Issues, offering a Christian response to the issues of the day. Here's your host, Tim Wildmon, President of the American Family Association.
Is this thing on? This thing work? This thing. THANG. For you Yankees. It means thing. All right, welcome to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Appreciate you listening to AFR. Today is Monday, June the 1st, if you can believe it. Seems like yesterday was New Year's. Today is June the 1st, 2026. I am Tim Wildmon, back from family vacation, and Ed Battagliano's in studio. Good morning, Brother Ed.
Good morning, Tim. Welcome back.
Thank you, and good morning, Fred.
Yes, good morning to you, Tim. June 1st, I'm starting year 30 here.
Yeah. All right, little hand clap action
there. There you go.
Year
30 years.
Wow.
I just cannot believe it.
Wow, yours is a movie there, the Canadian that could.
Yeah.
The Canadian.
You tell the story. You were working in Vancouver, right?
For the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, Canada's NPR.
Okay, Canada's NPR. You talk
that must
about
have been going well.
You talk about a place where Fred Jackson doesn't fit in with his conservative views.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so come down to just happenstance visiting Tupelo. From you and your wife were.
Well, I was getting frustrated. I knew CBC. I couldn't stay there. I was in my early 40s.
Right.
And I couldn't stay there because it was turning far, far left. And I was a news director, and I didn't want to be part of that.
Right.
So called my pastor in Springfield, Missouri, who married us when we were in Bible school. Susie and I were in Bible school. He said, yeah, there's a station just started here in Springfield, Missouri, American Family something. And I said, do you have a phone number? And we had a manager at that station in Springfield at that time.
Yeah.
Called him. He said, yeah, they're starting a news service down there in Tupelo, our home base. Called down here, got a hold of Bill Fancher, who was here at that time. And I said, I just want to come down and have a look around.
Yeah.
So this was like September 1986. And 96, pardon me. And so booked a flight down. They started a seat sale that day from Vancouver to Memphis, I think it was. Anyway, came down, had a look around, met your dad. He kind of passed me in the hallway.
But you didn't have an appointment with my dad.
No appointment.
My dad is Don Wildman, who was the leader of the ministry. Go ahead.
Yeah, we passed each other in the hallway. Bill introduced me. Yeah, hi, how are you? And he was on to something
else. You got that much out of my dad? Wow, what a friendly engagement that was.
Yeah.
He was on his way to do something.
Yeah.
He was always busy.
And I was about to head home after a nice tour around, and I was going to go to Sonic, get a burger, and go home.
Yeah.
And your dad passed me in the hallway again. Come see me before you leave.
That's so Brother Don.
And I sat down in his office. You want to come work here? We need a news director.
What a vetting process he had there. With
Yeah.
you, Fred.
Yeah, I said, yes, sir, but I got to get a green card. Got to do this legally. All right, go get your green card. Let me know when you got it. 6 months later, I said, I got a green card. All right, come on down. That was it.
And your wife is from Mississippi.
Yes.
So you did have a connection to the state.
Yes, I did. And years prior to all of that, we used to come when we visit her parents in Kosciuszko.
Right.
We'd come up here because my wife likes to sew, and the Hancock fabric.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
Big place they had here.
So we used to come up and go to a famous restaurant here, Danvers.
Yeah.
Which still looks the same today.
Yep.
And so all of that happened. So in May of 1997, we were all packed up and had all papers in order, my green card and everything, and we came across the border and drove down, and on June 1st, 1997.
Wow.
It all got started.
So you drove from Vancouver to Tupelo.
Yeah, we drove down to L.A. and then across on 10 and eventually on to 20.
What? Hold on a second. Aren't you going way out of your way to go from Vancouver to L.A.? Couldn't you have cut right through the Rockies over to Denver and down?
Sometimes that works, but that's a long haul, Tim. That's a long haul.
Oh, you mean to cross the Rockies, you mean?
Well, across that. We had done that.
Oregon
Living in
Trail.
Vancouver, believe it or not, we used to drive to Florida for a vacation.
You lived in Vancouver?
When we lived in Vancouver, there were 2 or 3 times that we drove to Florida.
Hopefully for more than 3 days.
Yeah.
Hey, we saw the beach. Coming back home now.
By the way, you said you've been here 30 years, right?
29 years.
29,
I'm starting year 30.
Starting year 30. All right.
Yes, yeah. So.
Okay.
But
well, you know me, I get stuck on these. I know my way around with highways. And
oh, yeah, you do.
And I'm just thinking Vancouver to L.A. to Tupelo, that just seems out of the way. But hey, you made it.
Yeah. We made it here. And
couldn't get carjacked in L.A. is my problem. You would have got truck jacked.
We did not stay in L.A.
Okay.
We circled around, got on that 10, and headed east right away.
Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, so 30 years starting tomorrow. Starting today.
Starting today, June 1st.
Wow.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Are you still legal? Got your green card and everything?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
How does that work? Do you have to keep that up to date? Do you have to
every 10 years you reapply?
Every 10 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Like a passport.
Yep. Yep. That's it.
Now, what does that? Does the green card allows you everything but what?
Voting.
Okay, you cannot.
No.
Yeah.
Cannot vote. But I can encourage people to vote.
Yeah. Have you been? Can you apply for citizenship?
I can apply for citizenship, but sometime when I retire, maybe moving back to Canada.
Okay, so you can't. But could you have dual? Do they allow dual citizenship or no?
They do. They do. But you got to watch out for the taxation laws.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Uncle Sam will get you. Huh?
Things happen.
All right. I don't want to get too much into your private life. I just want to make sure you were legal.
Oh, absolutely.
Really? You're not trying to get into his private life?
Well, I guess I was. But it was unintentional, and I quickly realized this is none of my business.
Oh, that's just fine.
Yeah,
that's
we're back from the beach.
Yeah.
We had our family vacation.
Mm-hmm.
18 of you.
Yeah. Now, this is funny if you're not the person. So, yeah, there's 8 adults in our fam, and there's actually 11 grandchildren, but one of them couldn't go.
Right.
She's a teenager and had to work in college. So there's 10 from 12 down to 2 or 1.5. So when we rent our condos and go to the beach, it's a little army. It's a little army of a lot of rugrats that are coming to invade. So I joke, say you should see the looks on the faces of the people we're camping out by on the beach, because
who are just down there for a little peace and
they
relaxation.
Just came down for a little R&R, and they're chilled out with their little fruit drink, and they're kicked back in their chair with their umbrella. They're looking at the beautiful Gulf of America, and all of a sudden here comes. There's a noise coming from behind us. What? 1, 2, 3, 18. 18 of us invade the Destin Beach there, and we always have a great time. We go Memorial Day. It's kind of a family tradition now for us. But I'll tell you one funny story I told our staff at devotion this morning. Folks, if you're worried about us getting into the end of the world stories,
that's coming up,
and we're not getting to them soon enough, we're going to get to it. The world's going to blow up. We're going to talk about it in just a minute. So I'm walking down the beach with 2 of my 10 grandchildren who are there.
Yeah.
One 8-year-old Landry, and then there's the 6-year-old Andrew. It's just the 2 of them with me.
Yeah.
We decided we'd stroll down the beach a little bit. So you're talking. Kids talk.
Small talk.
Small talk, you don't get into investments and data centers.
The Iran War.
Things like that. They're not interested in that.
Yeah.
So I said to Landry, the 8-year-old Wesley daughter, I said, you know what? Think about this. What if we were on a deserted beach and there's just us and we had to survive? I'm just making a conversation. I said, we'd have to fish. We'd have to catch crabs, just to eat. So she said, she looked at me and she said, yeah. Or she said, like an alternative, or we could go to the grocery store.
So you can fish and crab if you want.
Yeah, Poppy. You can fish and crab if you want. As for me, I'm going to Kroger. It was just so funny the way she said it because, she wasn't laughing about it. She was like, I thought this through, and I don't think your idea is very appealing to me.
I was going to say, these kids, they have no idea what the world was like without grocery stores. But then I realized, Tim, you and I don't know what it was like either.
No, that's right. I didn't grow up on a farm.
If I had to fish and crab for a living, I'd die. I'm with Landry. Let's go to Kroger.
Let's go to Kroger. All right. Anyway, you're listening to today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. Hard to believe it's June 1st as time passes fast. All right. So, Fred, what is leading the news this morning?
Well, let's start where it all began early this morning. All right? We'll go through the headlines chronologically.
Okay, take us through the headlines.
Here's the first headline early this morning. Trump insists Iran wants to make a deal. All right?
Got it.
Oh, that's a new take on things.
That's fresh. That's
a twist. That's a twist in this story.
Yeah, he went on. President Trump went on his Truth Social at around 1 o'clock this morning.
Amazing.
Okay, Iran really wants to make a deal, and it will be a good one for the USA and those that are with us.
That was at 1 a.m. this morning. He was posting.
1 o'clock this morning.
Man never sleeps.
Yeah, he's a little frustrated. There's some people, Democrats, who he called in this Truth Social Democrats. And
he called somebody a name?
Yeah,
like
he did. Yeah.
Democrats, huh?
Democrats,
okay.
And, quote, seemingly unpatriotic Republicans accusing political opponents of making it harder for him to navigate one of the most dangerous foreign policy crises of his presidency.
He wrote that?
That last part was...
Because that's not, doesn't sound like him.
No.
That's too grammatically correct.
Well, let me quote him again. Don't the Democrats and various seemingly unpatriotic Republicans understand that it is much tougher for me to properly do my job and negotiate when political hacks keep negatively chirping at levels never seen before over and over again that I should move faster or move slower or go to war or not go to war or whatever Trump wrote?
Okay.
All right.
Got it.
All right. So that was the headline.
That you know what? We can critique how President Trump's handled this situation, but that's a fair thing for him to say in his position. It's kind of like, it's easy to, be a Monday morning quarterback, so to speak, but what he's saying there in his own way is this is a heavy decision, a heavy responsibility, and so it doesn't help that we got negative chirping going on. Okay, From his perspective, I understand that. Go ahead.
All right. So later, a few hours later, this was the headline. Israel orders strikes on Beirut's southern suburbs as Hezbollah rockets hit northern Israel. It's all connected, folks.
Okay, people might be wondering, how is President Trump and our Iran war situation related to Israel and the terrorist group Hezbollah on the northern border?
Because negotiators for Iran are insisting they're all tied together. Hezbollah is a proxy of the Iranian government.
Yes.
All right? They have been shooting rockets and missiles at Israel.
Into Israel's sovereign territory.
Yes. Israel has responded with its own missiles and gone beyond that now, and we now have troops into southern Lebanon, okay, where Hezbollah is based. The headline is Israel orders strikes on Beirut's southern suburbs. So initially it was below the Litani River in Lebanon. Now we're moving into the suburbs of Beirut.
If I can use an analogy, and I know some people think Tim dumbs things down too much for people, but I just want people to understand because a lot of people don't have a geographical context for the Middle East very much. Israel is a country about the size of New Jersey, okay, physically, so from top to bottom. And on the northern side, imagine if rockets were being fired, you lived in New Jersey, or let's just say Ohio and Kentucky, and you're in Cincinnati, for example, and rockets are being fired into Kentucky from Cincinnati, which is right across the river. Well, and then so the Kentuckians decide, hey, we can't tolerate this. It's killing our citizens. we're going to send our army and we're going to invade Cincinnati and push these forces back that are attacking our people and firing rockets into our country.
Yes.
Well, when Israel does that, when Kentucky does that into Ohio to defend their citizens, the world condemns Kentucky for occupying land that isn't theirs, or invading a sovereign country. You see how this works?
Yes.
I just want people to understand how this works. So,
yeah.
What you have is Iran is paying for the people, Hezbollah in this case, a terrorist organization, to attack Israel.
Yes.
And Israel's had it. They're tired of it. They see what they've done in Gaza to fight Hamas after the horrific butchering of 1,200 of their citizens. Now they're having to defend themselves on the northern front of their small country. And Iran is somehow trying to connect to tell Israel, in other words, for the U.S. to proceed with our negotiations with Iran. Iran is saying, U.S., you need to tell Israel to get back in, to quit attacking Hezbollah. Yes. Is that right?
Yes. Okay. And to clarify and make sure everybody understands, Israel is not at war with Lebanon.
Yeah, the country.
Hezbollah are terrorists that are all over Lebanon.
Yes.
They hide their missiles in schools.
Yes.
And hospitals.
Yes.
And apartment buildings.
Right.
So when you see the media reports that Israel attacked an apartment building in Lebanon, but they don't tell you the context, because that's where Hezbollah keeps their missiles and fires their missiles from.
Right.
All right. So
as of today, as of this hour, Iran is saying they're stopping negotiations with the U.S. until Israel backs out of
Beirut, and they want them completely out of Lebanon. And on top of that, now Lebanon negotiators are meeting with Israeli negotiators in Washington, in D.C. this week.
Wait, who's meeting with who now?
Lebanese government people are meeting with Israeli government people in Washington, D.C. to see if they can bring about some kind of settlement. But
the Lebanese government doesn't seem to be able to do anything about Hezbollah, which is inside their own country attacking Israel.
That is correct. So to go back to the initial headline, President Trump getting concerned about even some Republicans and some of his supporters are getting tired of the headline that says, there's a deal coming. Don't worry about it. Gas prices will come down, et cetera, et cetera.
Where do we get the expression catch-22, Ed?
That is from I believe it's from a novel, Catch-22. Joseph Heller, maybe? I can't remember who wrote it. I read it in high school.
What does the common expression mean in today's vernacular?
Well, it means you're between a rock and a hard place. Which
is another metaphor.
Yeah.
So you've got
two possible options, and either way you go, you lose. I think that's a fair off the top of my head.
It's a seeming catch-22 right now for President Trump. Now, I don't know. That's what it looks like, Fred.
Yeah.
It looks like maybe I don't see how he's going to pull a win out of this. If the win is defined as Iran stopping their nuclear weapon development and being monitored constantly by Americans or some kind of a peacekeeping force to assure that they're going to not develop nuclear weapons. Is that?
No, that's true. But I think the pressure from home, even amongst MAGA supporters, is increasing. And to demonstrate that, News Nation's Batya Angur Sargon, who is a self-described MAGA lefty who has previously hailed Donald Trump as the most effective president of my lifetime. She on the weekend went public to address the president, saying, people who support you, President Trump, are really hurting economically. Cut number 12.
Mr. President, your supporters are hurting. people who voted for you 3 times, who would walk over Legos covered in hot coals to vote for you, are broke. Some are skipping meals. Others are buying canned chicken in bulk because that's all they can afford. The cost of food and gas is just so high. People are finding it impossible to pay for their kids' after-school sports once they fill up the car with gas. People who support you and support the war in Iran, who were willing to pay a little more to make sure our grandkids don't have to live with the threat of a nuclear-armed terror state, who were willing to pay a little more for the possibility of reshoring our great manufacturing base with tariffs, well, they've paid all they can. Your supporters need help, Mr. President, and they need it from you. We brought in $200 billion in tariff revenue. Couldn't some of that be shared with Americans struggling to put food on the table?
So that kind of pressure is building amongst those who are supporters, have voted for President Trump, as she said many times, because economically they are feeling the effects of this ongoing war with Iran.
You know, I understand the president's frustration with criticism here at home while he's trying to negotiate with whoever is doing the negotiating on the Iranian side of this impasse. But he's got to expect that's the way our country works. Constitutionally, the president, now we do have a 1973 War Powers Act resolution that does grant some leeway for a president to use the military for a certain amount of time. But constitutionally, war was not supposed to be declared except by the permission of Congress, in which case you would have arguments that would be public. And that's the way the Constitution works. So the president has to, I understand the frustration, but the president has to understand in a constitutional republic, this is the way it works. You're going to have people publicly saying, this is a mistake, you shouldn't be doing it, what have you. I would also say that I think I am very pessimistic that the president is going to be able to get out of this without it looking like a loss. From the Iranian perspective, the Israeli perspective is Hezbollah is working for Iran. Okay, they're a proxy from the Iranian.
Israel.
Yeah, to attack Israel. From the Iranian perspective, they see Israel as being a proxy for the United States. And you're not going to move them off that. Now, I disagree with Iran. Hezbollah exists to attack Israel. Israel does not exist to attack Hezbollah. This all happened because Iran has been funding these terrorist groups. So the Iranians are absolutely wrong in making a moral equivalency here. But I'm saying the Iranians are sold on an Iranian revolution, an Islamic revolution that's not going away, and they are not making a deal. I am very pessimistic that any kind of deal is made unless the United States completely shuts down their economy and resumes, punishing them militarily. I think Iran is just stringing the U.S. along, the Trump administration.
When we get back from the break, I want to talk about how this war is related to the Bible. Because I think that's a good tease, don't you?
Yeah.
I think
Absolutely.
people will come back to see what I have to say about that.
Okay. Yeah, and you're ready. I'm
ready.
You've been on vacation.
I'm ready to
this past
bring it.
week. That's right.
Ready to bring it. So, in all seriousness, I want to talk about that when we get back from the break, because, I'll just talk about it when we get back.
Yeah.
Okay? So we're going to take a short time out right here with more of today's issues on the American Family Radio Network. Tim, Ed, and Fred, we'll be back. Stay with us.
It's my turn.
Here is your host for My Turn, Don Wildmon.
The carpenter from Nazareth had about him some very definite human qualities, for the very simple reason that he was very definitely a human. Two of those qualities stand out. Without them, life can hardly be worth the effort of living. The first quality which the Galilean had, and which we need, is that in every bad situation he saw some good. Things must never get so dark that we cannot still see the light needed for living. It was a bad situation that Christ saw the tax collector Matthew in, but Jesus saw the good in Matthew the man. It was a bad situation when Peter ran out on his Lord, but Jesus saw the good in Peter, even the faithfulness and steadfastness. Jesus even nicknamed him the Rock. The cross was a bad situation, man's highest contempt for God, but Jesus saw the good which could come from it. The second quality of Jesus which you and I need is this: in every problem he saw a possibility. In every problem he faced, Jesus sought and found some possibility through which he could bring honor to his Father. Faced with the problem of traveling through Samaria, a country avoided by the Jews, he used the occasion for the possibility of revealing who he was to a sinful Samaritan woman at Jacob's well. Faced with the problem of worried disciples on the Sea of Galilee in a storm, he found a possibility to show the power and concern of God. The secret here is that we strive to be like Christ. In every bad situation, we need to look for the good. If we look for the good, we will find it. If we look for the bad or look to find fault, we'll find that. Thoreau Harris once wrote, "Look for the beautiful, seek to find the true." No person can honestly call himself a follower of the Galilean who continually looks only for what is wrong. Jesus was a positive person who believed in the power and the goodness and the concern of God. He believed in a God who could and would help in every situation. We also need to look for the possibilities in every problem. John Wesley, with the church doors of England closed to him, turned reluctantly to preaching in the open air. It opened a whole new, exciting, and extremely rewarding way of life to him. There's an old saying which contains much truth: every adversity hides a possibility. We can actually turn bad problems into good possibilities. Pilgrim's Progress was written in Bedford jail, where John Bunyan was a prisoner because he preached religious toleration and freedom. The famous preacher Charles Spurgeon once said that many men owe the grandeur of their lives to their tremendous difficulties. Occasionally, when our vision is blurred by problems, we cannot see sights which at other times are so clear. When this happens, we need more than ever to remember that the oyster turns into pearl the sand which annoys it. In every bad situation, look for the good. In every problem, seek the possibility. If you'll do these things, they will help you live and love it.
This has been My Turn with Don Wildmon, a production of the American Family Association.
Do to others whatever you would like them to do to you. This is the essence of all that is taught in the law and the prophets. Matthew 7:12.
American Family Radio. This is Today's Issues. Email your comments to comments@afr.net. Past broadcasts of Today's Issues are available for listening and viewing in the archive at afr.net. Now, back to more of Today's Issues.
Welcome back, everybody, to Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network on this Monday, June 1. We've been talking about the situation with Iran and the stalemate that we seem to be in. Well, it's not seem to be, that we are in and have been in for, over a month now with Iran and President Trump. You know, it's like a broken record. He keeps saying the same thing every day. We're near a deal. They really want a deal, but we don't have a deal. So I'm not calling the man a liar. I'm just saying that he is maybe he thinks we're near a deal, but he how am I saying this? He seems to be too optimistic, overly optimistic, when the facts don't seem to support what he's saying. Does that make that?
Yeah,
fair?
I think he's being honest. I just think that it's not just President Trump. There are a lot of people that run our country that don't seem to understand the nature of Islamic revolution. Okay, I think they think you can make a deal with people who are acting in their own best interest. And these people aren't acting in their own best interest. They have an apocalyptic religious view of the world and how things should go. And you don't expect that to be the kind of person you're dealing with. And I just think that a lot of people get played. And
I'm not sure if President Trump understands that part of it.
That's
let me say what I was going to say before the break, which all our listeners are hanging on every word. Don't you think, Ed?
Absolutely.
Because I am a theologian in my own mind.
And you would have gone on to get a doctorate in it.
I would have.
But all your other careers got in the way.
But it was the back.
Your
back injury kept me
from
from getting a theological degree.
Okay.
And writing, being right up there with Erwin Lutzer and people of that stature. But anyway, that's yesterday.
Right. No sense crying over spilled milk.
I've moved on. So, here, in all seriousness, here's why I say this war is related to the Bible. Motivations for war historically, and I'm talking about back to the beginning of time, have basically been over land. Fighting over land is probably the number one cause of war in history. Number two would be hatred for another group of people, just sheer right out hatred for maybe things that people have done to your people. So you have nomadic or tribal warfares over history. I'm always a little amused is not the right word, but the critics of America always say we live on stolen land, because our European ancestors invaded, as if the Native American tribes didn't war against each other all day, every day over what? Land.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of Indians living on stolen land.
Right. No, it's
if you want to define it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, but it just seems like only the white Europeans can live on stolen land.
Right.
Why is that? Our ancestors. So, but back to my point. Here's the biblical connection to this war, I think. So I'm describing reasons for warfare in history. Iran they're Persian people. They have no, so they're not border states with Israel. They're like 1,200 or 1,500 miles apart, separated by Jordan and Iraq. Okay, so they're not fighting over land per se for traditional reasons. Here's my bottom line on this, Fred. You can comment on this, Ed, too, since you're the only two other people here. Iran is fighting this war because they hate the Jews. Okay? That's why Iran is developing nuclear weapons, is to annihilate the Jews. Now, they want to take out the great Satan, too. They would like to. They would view us, Iran, would view us as a Christian nation. They don't really distinguish between, like we would. No, we're more secular than Christian today, but they just view us as a Christian nation. So we're the great Satan because we have all the money and the power and the military might. Israel's the little Satan. But so what I'm saying, the biblical connection here, and I'm not saying this is described this particular war is described in the Bible in any particular place that I know of, but just the whole idea of it being spiritual, because the Iranians, which are Islamic, Shia Islamic, they hate the Jews being in the neighborhood, so to speak, of Islam. So you have a Jewish state right in the middle of the Islamic world, and Iran can't stand that just because they can't stand it, and so they want to kill all the Jews.
Yeah.
So there's that. That's why they're saying let's make the Hezbollah and Israeli battle part of our negotiations with America, because we want Hezbollah and Hamas to be able to kill all the Jews so that we can take back the land of Israel eventually. That's their motivation. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense for Iran to continue doing that. They're only hurting their own country and their own people and their economy with this continuation of wanting to develop a nuclear weapon. Well, why would they insist, seemingly just insist on having the right to develop a nuclear weapon? Is because they eventually want to use it to wipe out the Jews. Or that's what they think, for the reasons you mentioned. Apocalyptic view of the end of the world. End of the world would be apocalyptic, and where the enemies of the Jews and the Christians, Islam, wins the war. Does that make sense?
And then I want Fred to answer
because
your
he's
question.
also in the room.
And then after Fred, I want to say something controversial. But my understanding of this apocalyptic view on the part of the Shia Muslims, of which Iran is for the most part Shia, that they believe that kind of war and apocalyptic conflict with the enemies of Islam will bring the 12th Imam, who will then rule the world and conquer the world for Islam. So Iran and the Islamic revolutionaries that are leading the country want to bring apocalyptic war in the Middle East, because that's when the 12th Imam shows up. Very demonically inspired.
So how do you negotiate with that?
You don't. You can't. And
I think that's the situation President Trump finds him in.
That's right.
Finds himself in.
Yeah.
You go ahead, the biblical thing, and then I want to say something controversial.
Well, yeah. Let's go back to the Old Testament. The Jews are God's chosen people. You want to go to Genesis 12, the Abrahamic covenant.
Okay.
I'll create a great people from you, God says to Abraham. And so, because God has chosen the Jewish people, his chosen people, Satan hates them. And perhaps this is being oversimplistic, but the people that Satan hates, Satan uses groups of people, and in this case, the Islamic regime, they hate the Jewish people. And that's why, rationally we cannot explain this, because the Jewish people aren't out to wipe out Muslims.
They're not invading Iran.
No. I mean, there are Muslims who sit in the Knesset. There are Islamic people who follow that religion, who have shops and businesses in Israel, and they're welcome to do so. But there are elements within Islam, they hate the Jewish people. They are driven by Satan. It's a hatred driven by Satan. That's the only way you can explain it. And the bottom line is, President Trump is dealing with a group of people in Iran, that Islamic regime, the Shia, as you pointed out. They hate Israel. And they are bound and determined, for the reasons that Ed was giving there just a moment ago, to bring in the 12th Imam. All right? So that's where they are. Hezbollah are Shia. They are an arm of that Iranian Islamic regime, like Hamas. If you've read the accounts of what happened in October of 2023, how those Hamas terrorists treated men, women, and children, we can't even talk about it on the air. Unbelievable. They treated them worse than animals. These captives, these people, over 1,200 that they killed and took captive. We in the West cannot understand that kind of hatred. But what we have to be aware of is, because the United States supports Israel, that Islamic regime, I'll call them Satan's crowd, they hate the United States.
Yes.
And in particular, Christians.
Yes.
Because
evangelical Christians in America are the number one supporter of the nation of Israel.
That is correct.
And so, yes, absolutely. An aside to this, but related, what happened in October of 2023, people so easily forget, and it's underreported in the news because many in the news media hate Israel too.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, Israel private citizens were attacked and butchered in ways, as you said, Fred, we can't even describe. Remember that day, all the stories that came out, 11 to 1,200 people massacred. Massacred. There was a music festival going on. And so when Hamas attacked and butchered all those people, killed them and murdered them, then immediately the political left in this country and around the world condemned Israel for attacking Hamas.
Yep.
Okay? And because they had to go into Gaza, which is where a high concentration of Hamas is, almost all of them. And Hamas was, as you said, using schools, hospitals. They're not an army out there in uniform saying, "Let's go." You know, they're terrorists. They conduct guerrilla warfare, and so Israel has to pick and choose. Where do we fire? Who do we stop? Where are these people? What about this one? What about? Well, when Israel does that, sometimes you have people die who are not combatants, and so that's what happened. And then, but almost immediately, the world began to say, Israel, back off. You can't do this because you're killing innocent people. And I just thought to myself, since when do you get to massacre 11 or 1,200 people, and then you get to dictate the terms to the army that is responding to that? Yeah. But that's almost what the world wanted. I say the world in general. That's the condemnation that Israel got. You're killing too many people in Gaza. Listen, it's war is hell, and it's tragic, and it's sad to see any Arab die, or any Muslim die, or any Jew die, or Christian, or anybody in a war. That's just horrible. But I'm saying when you do launch a war and attack people like Hamas did, Israel's going to respond with overwhelming force, and there are some non-combatant Arabs and even children that are going to die, sadly. But that's just the nature of war. And when you're in Israel and you're a small country and you're in the middle of a hostile environment and you're always trying to defend yourselves against the enemies, you have to be on guard all the time. It's a bad situation to have to live in the environment in. Anyway, what are you going to say controversial?
All right, here's my controversial statement.
Go.
Now, first of all, let me just, before I get to the controversial statement, say I think the president's idea in going to war against Iran was a good idea. In other words, if we can get rid of the nuclear weapons program, if we can stop them from being the sponsor of state terrorism, proxy terrorism, because we can get regime change and we can take out much of their military, that would have been phenomenal. Okay, so here's the controversial part, and I don't expect the president or members of Congress to act on what I'm about to say. They've got to do what they think is the best policy. But if God has a plan in the Middle East that involves Iran being a villain, then, and if God wants to be the one who gets the glory for ending the Iranian regime, then nothing the United States does will change that. Okay? I am saying that it may be that if we are at the end, that Iran has to exist and this wicked regime has to be in place so that they can drive the antagonism and hostility against Israel. And if that's the case, President Trump will not be given the honor to end the regime in Iran. Now, you can't.
Why is that controversial?
Well, it's controversial because it may make it seem like the president doesn't do anything because what God might want. You see what I'm saying? We don't know what God wants. It may very well be that God chooses President Trump to be the one who ends the Iranian regime. God seemingly chose Alexander the Great to be the one that ended Persia.
Right.
Okay. Human beings don't know what God wants. So what I'm saying is, even though the president had the best intentions, it may very well be. It's like when the Nazis invaded Russia. Okay, it's almost, or when Napoleon invaded Russia. It's almost as if God said, "No, you can't have it. I am going to stop you." So I think it's probably controversial because it makes it sound like you conduct foreign policy on the basis of what God might want. We don't know what God wants, but I'm saying I don't necessarily, if this fails, I don't necessarily biblically lay that at the feet of President Trump. He was doing what he thought was the right thing to do. It just might not be that God was going to allow him to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. By the way, you're listening to the radio program Today's Issues here on the American Family Radio Network. We're here Monday through Thursday with the hard news, and then on Friday we have fun with trivia. But I'm Tim, Ed, with Fred here on the program today. Let me just say, too, talking about what you're mentioning there, I think President Trump thought conventionally on this war, and the conventional wisdom on war is that the people with the biggest army win. All right, so our military did incredible those first few weeks, as did the Israelis. And to wipe out as much as we could the offensive capabilities of the Iranian military, and they did a great job of that. But I think President Trump, I'm just guessing here, I don't know, thought they would cry uncle. Okay, they would cry uncle because, hey, look what's happening to our country. It's just we're defenseless now. But I think he did not factor in the spiritual dynamic here. Some people would call it, extremely hard-headed. That's true. Talking about the Iranians, they're willing to put their whole country at risk in the name of having the right to develop nuclear weapons, which they say they don't want to use. Well, I don't know if I think they've said that they just want it for peaceful purposes. But so I think he got to a point where, okay, they're going to give up any day now. And guess what? They didn't. They've still got the country, because the people in the country of Iran don't have weapons to have a revolution. So they are murdered. If there's like any other totalitarian regime in the world and world history, the king or the tyrant or the pharaoh or the dictator puts down any revolt by killing you or killing anybody associated with. And we've seen all that, the horrendous stories about all the thousands of people in Iran who have been killed by the regime. So you would have thought, well, if the people of Iran really want to have a free country and rid themselves of these ayatollahs ruling over them, why don't they rise up? Well, they can't. They don't have anything to rise up with. They're in shell shock. They're intimidated. They're psychologically under the control and physically under the control of the Iranian regime. Anyway, I don't know where this goes. I'm wondering, do you think there's an out here for President Trump just to say, look, we tried our best to get rid of the threat of Iran building a nuclear weapon, but we We're not going to be able to guarantee that. All we can say is that we will watch them as closely as we can, and if we need to go back militarily, we will. And Israel's got to do what Israel's got to do. We're not dictating to them about their war with Hamas or Hezbollah. So, is that even a chance, or does saving face, so to speak, matter to President Trump because I say saving face. Maybe that's the right way to phrase it. I don't mean that in a, as if his actions would be, motivated sheerly on looks. But you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think he can say that. Here would be the problem. I think so there's a big if at the end of this. The president could say exactly what you're suggesting. Okay, look, we're pulling out. We did our best. Nobody else would help us except for Israel. We don't want them to get a nuclear weapon. Administration after administration in our country said Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I took steps to try to stop it, but I'm not putting boots on the ground. So we degraded their military. And now if they get a nuclear weapon, it's on the rest of the countries who refused to help. Okay, here's the big if. That, I think, might get the president off the hook somewhat politically, except what if Iran says, okay, you know what? Because you devastated so much of our military, we're going to have to get that money back. We are going to start charging a toll for going through the Straits of Hormuz. And
why do we care? Why do we care about that?
Well, that would turn out to be a negative result for our economy and the world economy because it would up the price of oil, and that would be politically damaging, I think, for the president. That's my sense of it.
Yeah, Fred, any?
I think President had the meeting in the Situation Room last Friday. I was surprised that we've had nothing coming out of that meeting because we were told that there would be an announcement on this. This is the deal that I'm willing to go along with. That hasn't happened yet. I think the reality of an election this year is going to force the president to compromise perhaps on what he thought he could get. I think what he hopes for now is Hormuz is open again, just as it was before this all started. And he will accept some kind of commitment from the Iranian regime that we won't produce.
He'll be mocked.
Yes,
he'll be mocked for that.
Yes,
by the especially the news media, probably on the right and the left, because they'll say you're trying to sell us a pig in a poke here, Mr. President. You said the reason we went was to stop them from getting nuclear weapons, and now you're saying we're not going to do that, and it doesn't matter, and we're not buying it. And this also goes contrary to his personality. This is not going to play well into his personality traits, because he likes to win. That's what he frames things, win and losers, and he likes to brag
that he can get a deal done.
And as we saw with Iran, with Ukraine and Russia, he can't always get a deal done.
Right.
Even though he thinks he can. And I'm not saying thinking you can is a bad trait.
Right.
I'm just saying it doesn't always work as easily as
because some people don't want a deal.
Yeah, and he's finding that
some people want the end of the world.
And he's finding that out right now, and I think he's in a catch-22 almost, as we mentioned earlier in the program. All right, we will take a short time out. Steve Paisley Jordahl will join us in just a few moments. Stay with us.
The views and opinions expressed in this broadcast may not necessarily reflect those of the American Family Association or American Family Radio.
Faith, family, freedom. American Family Radio.
Their investment is only for Donald Trump. It's not for the Republican Party. And I think this is another thing that we as conservatives have failed to do during the entire arc of the Trump era is actually take the Trump voters and convert them into genuine conservatives.
Start your weekdays with insight from Jenna Ellis in the morning, 7 o'clock Central Time on American Family Radio. This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
American Family News, I'm Mr. Pugh. A Utah judge is set to decide today whether to bar reporters and the public from parts of a key upcoming hearing in the case of the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk. Tyler Robinson's defense has asked Judge Tony Graff to restrict access to the preliminary hearing on July 6th through the 10th, when prosecutors must show they have enough evidence to warrant a trial. Riots have continued outside an ICE detention center in New Jersey. Those taking part in the rioting, including attacks on law enforcement, are upset because they say the conditions inside the facility are poor. Former acting DHS Deputy Secretary Ken Cuccinelli says, first of all, that's not true. All detainees receive 3 meals a day and medical care. But he says for the rioters, it has nothing to do with food or living conditions.
Absolutely, and I don't think there's ever any serious question about it, but that clip you just showed, Lawrence, really takes the mask off it, if you will. This has nothing to do with the facility or the meals or how they treat people. And by the way, ICE treats people with the same kind of dignity and respect that we treat people that we hold in local jails or federal prisons and so forth. They have rights, they're human beings, and they're treated with dignity. But they have broken the law, and they're on the path to being deported. So these folks are enforcing the law. And the protesters don't object to the treatment, they object to the law.
Former DOJ prosecutor Jim Trusty called the rioting in New Jersey
sustained AstroTurf chaos. You know, professional protesters, half these guys are probably protesting climate change. They don't even know why they're there. But they, again, when we have to tolerate them, as ICE of all agencies really has to do politically, they have to tolerate a lot, that emboldens them. And so now you've got people being assaulted, you've got chaos, you've got risk of harm to inmates and to ICE agents alike. And so I think the crackdown is kind of long overdue, even though obviously any blip on the screen by ICE agents is going to be the viral video, as opposed to all the misbehavior we're seeing here from protesters.
New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani making history as the first mayor to skip the city's annual Israel Day parade. Denise Cohen, founder of the Rational New Yorker, says this was a deliberate move by Mamdani to send a message.
It's the same message he's been sending from the beginning. He has an agenda, and he's going to make us suffer through it. What I think is very important is for people on the receiving end of it, not just Jewish New Yorkers, but any New Yorkers, is not to be outraged, not to be shocked by anything he does anymore. Instead, we just need to buckle down and see that he has an agenda. The agenda is a society-rotting movement, which can easily spread outside of New York. And unless we sort of buckle up, make sure we stay informed and get active, this could be pretty ugly.
Christians by the thousands are being kidnapped and murdered in Nigeria by ISIS terrorists who are being paid by Chinese nationals involved in illegal rare earth mineral mining, according to a United States congressman.
President Trump says Christians in Nigeria are being persecuted and martyred by a radical Islamist terror group the world hasn't heard from in years.
For 4 years, ISIS rebuilt, and they were killing Christians. So you can't do that.
The president is promising a reckoning.
When Christians come under attack, they know they're going to be attacked violently and viciously by President Trump.
Last year, according to the Nigerian NGO International Society for Civil Liberties and Rule of Law, Islamic militants killed 7,500 and kidnapped 8,500 Nigerian Christians. Since 2009, more than 128,000 Christians have been murdered, another 80,000 kidnapped. West Virginia Congressman Riley Moore says it's all courtesy of the Chinese.
The Fulani militants, these Islamic militants we've been talking about, they're getting paid by the Chinese who are operating illegal mining operations in Nigeria.
He says the Chinese are after so-called rare earth minerals essential to the artificial intelligence boom.
And they will bribe people in that state to be able to mine, and then the protection money is then paid to the Fulani militants, who then use that money to then go murder and martyr Christians within Nigeria.
I'm Steve Jordahl.
For American Family News, I'm Rusty Pugh.
If we lose this cultural war, we're going to have a hedonistic, humanistic society.
Discover the story of the culture warrior Don Wildmon and how he went head-to-head with Hollywood, Playboy, the homosexual agenda, and the Disney Empire. The movement Don started paved the way for Christians to boldly stand for truth and righteousness in a hostile culture. Watch Culture Warrior today for free. Visit culturewarrior.movie.
Today's Issues continues on AFR with your host, Tim Wildmon, president of the American Family Association.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. Real quickly, wanted to mention there are 2 tours coming up in March of 2027 that you may be interested in or know somebody who may be interested in that we are leading here. First is the Footsteps of Paul tour, which goes to Greece. And then the second tour, which is back-to-back, these tours, we're going to Italy. So my sons Walker and Wesley will be leading the Greece Footsteps of Paul tour. And Allison and I will be leading the Make Lasagna Great Again tour to Italy, which is, tell nobody's listened to the show. Nobody even smiled here in the studio. I thought that was pretty clever. Maybe you've heard it before. Anyway,
Make lasagna great again?
Yeah.
Yeah, you asked me what I thought about it when you sent that out, remember?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, you liked it.
I
right?
liked it.
Yeah. So we're going to go to Italy. We're going to Venice, ride the gondolas, go to Florence and Pisa and Rome. There's a lot of cultural things and historical things. Italy is one of the most influential countries in the world when it comes to art and
you got that right, buddy.
And food, and also a lot of Christian sites that we will see. The catacombs, for example.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to the catacombs. So if you have been waiting to go with a group of Christian folks to Greece or Italy or both, maybe this is your trip you might be interested in. So I say all that to say if you want to read the itinerary, the dates, the cost, everything you want to know about it, it's tours, tours.afa.net. 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 Again, these tours are in March of 2027, and we've scheduled them back to back, so if you want to do both, you can go with us on both of them because now you better have a big suitcase. Okay. You better have a big suitcase, but because that'll put you gone about 2.5 weeks total. But still, if you want to do both of them, you're welcome to do both of them.
My understanding is that Europeans don't shower as much as Americans do anyway.
Anyway, so you'll fit right in.
So you can rewear those shirts.
I have no comment on that, Ed. All right, so that's coming up. Wanted folks to be aware of that in 2027. Tim, Ed, Fred, we're back here for the last half hour of today's issue. Steve Paisley Jordahl joins us now.
Hey, everybody.
Good morning, Brother Steve.
Good morning.
All right, what you got going? Was there anything else we needed to mention before Steve gets started here? I don't think so, right? Are you going to say something? Okay.
No.
Go, Steve.
I plan on not saying anything the rest of the show. So.
Oh, okay.
Be that way.
Over the weekend in New York City, they had an event called the Israel Day Parade.
Yep.
It's been held for years and years, and it's basically a pride in the non-gay way event to express pride of being Jewish, Jewish heritage, and it's a strong Jewish community in New York City. And we got a little bit of a first here because Mayor Zoran Mamdani, Mayor Zoran Mamdani, has he declined to attend the event. He'd be the first mayor ever to not attend.
This has been going on since 1964.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's incredible.
And so we asked, he did a press conference and was asked about this. And he was standing next to the New York City Police Department Commissioner Jessica Tisch. And the tension, you could have cut the tension with a knife in that room because she did not agree with his decision. Let's listen to, it's a very short cut, but let's listen to the two of them talk about their intentions. Cut 7.
I said on the campaign trail that I wouldn't be attending the parade, and I've made my views on the Israeli government abundantly clear. And I don't believe that my presence as the mayor should determine whether or not a New Yorker is safe or secure.
It's the mayor's decision not to march, and it is my decision to march proudly.
Is she a Jew?
I believe she is, yes.
Tish. Is that a Jewish name?
I don't know if I believe the name. I think she did say she was Jewish. I'm going to check that right now.
Well, if she's married, Tish would not be her maiden name. Anyway, but this is Jewish.
What?
The name, I think.
She is Jewish. Comes from a prominent Jewish family.
Okay, so the mayor of New York he's a Muslim. He's saying, I disagree with the Israeli government, therefore I'm not going to march in the New York City pro-Israel day.
Yep.
Okay, I don't like this guy at all. He's a self-avowed communist, isn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think this is consistent with his beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I don't think I think he'd have been booed out of the like
okay, but you know what? Okay, I'm you're being charitable, okay, and probably I'm sure you're right. This is in line with his beliefs. But all I ever heard when it was gay pride parades is mayors saying, "I'm the mayor of everyone in New York City. Everybody's part of my constituency. I represent everyone. So I'm going to show up at the gay pride parade, even if I myself personally may not be in support of, for example, gay marriage."
That doesn't apply here.
That's all I ever heard from people who said that. And so this guy, I think, should have said, you know what, I'm the mayor of everybody, and even people I don't agree with.
Yeah,
but the left doesn't do that. They say, like Catherine Hochul, and I'm getting wound up. I said I'm going to say anything.
She's the governor of New York.
Governor of New York. You don't like it? Leave. We don't want you here.
Yeah. By the way, she did attend the pro-Israel rally.
Yeah.
She did. Go ahead.
You know, this is connected, though, Tim, to what we talked about in the first hour. Mamdani is upset. He said he doesn't agree with the Israeli government. He believes Israel was wrong to defend itself against that Hamas attack.
Yes.
He has even said publicly that if Netanyahu comes to New York, he'll arrest him because of
war crimes.
War crimes. So he is anti-Israel. He doesn't believe Israel has a right to defend itself against terrorism, and he doesn't like Prime Minister Netanyahu. So he is on the side of Hamas and Hezbollah.
I'll tell you something else. If he's a good Muslim, he doesn't think Israel should exist.
Yes,
because
he's not gonna say that out loud.
That is the teaching of Islam.
The way he's acting.
Yeah.
He was there of sorts. In place of his actual attendance, some parade participants carried cardboard cutouts of the mayor
That's brilliant.
and his wife, and to mock their absence. And yes, there was a smattering of boos that were heard.
Boos for what?
When his
For the
image
cardboard
passed by.
cutouts,
For
man.
the cardboard cutouts?
Yeah, you boo those cardboard cutouts. That's very.
By the way, his wife is every bit as anti-Israel as he is.
Probably worse.
Yeah.
Probably worse. But anyway, so next story, Steve.
All right, got a primary coming up tomorrow in Los Angeles. Actually, is it the vote for mayor? Or is the primary?
It's both for California governor and the mayor of L.A. Yeah.
They're up, and in case you're wondering if the water boy has something to say about it, he is endorsing Spencer Pratt. This is the water boy. Cut 10.
Adam Sandler?
Rob Schneider.
Oh.
Do you think Spencer Pratt can do it?
You can do it, but I don't trust the Democrats.
That's exactly how I was hoping you would say that.
The Democrats have it. Spencer, no, the Democrats have their ideological captives, and they're not letting it go. The thing is that they've convinced their people that it's just no matter how bad things are, it would somehow, these people are so evil, it will be worse. It's like, yes, your entire town burned down, but imagine if it was burned down by someone who was transphobic. Can you imagine?
Yeah, there are. He's an interesting candidate. Talking about Spencer Pratt.
Does he have a chance to win?
Yeah.
Yes.
Polls are showing a very tight race. In fact, some are showing him in front. I'd love to bring in some of the ads that he put together, but I can't because they're not all family-friendly ads, but they're
How
very
did he
effective.
gain popularity and notoriety? Was he a reality TV star?
He did star on a reality TV show, but his house was burned down in the fires that hit L.A. Last year, and he's been living out of a trailer ever since.
And now drives it around when he speaks.
Right. So,
well, what does he say? I mean, how does that help you win a mayoral election?
Well, they are not rebuilding the houses that burned down in L.A. They are not rebuilding the area that burned down at all.
That's the current mayor of the Democrats' fault?
That's Karen Bass. He is laying that at the feet of Karen Bass. I will tell you that there has been enough bureaucracy in L.A. for years that it was going to make it hard to rebuild them in anyway. But Karen Bass certainly has not helped the situation in Pacific Palisades and other areas that were burned down in those fires.
So he's running as a Republican.
He is running as a Republican.
Well,
and he could win.
Well, we'll see what happens. How many? Now there's two Democrats running, right? And there's Karen Bass, the current mayor, and then there's some other lady, city councilman.
She's the kind of housing commissioner for the city, but
Okay.
she's further left than Bass.
She's probably draining some support away from Bass.
If it's one of those deals where if one person doesn't get over 50%, they'll have a runoff, right?
Correct.
When you have three people, and if they split the vote, and nobody gets a majority,
Right.
51.
I'm going to make predictions. I don't think.
Make a prophecy.
No, I'm not going to do
You're on
that.
a roll today, man.
No, because you know what? If you make a prophecy and it doesn't come to pass, and you speak in the name of the Lord, you're supposed to be stoned.
Speak in the name of Ed.
Okay, I'm speaking in the name of Ed.
Okay.
I think Democrats will squeak by. It would be a kind of an earthquake if Spencer Pratt
I
beats.
like that metaphor for L.A.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't even think about that.
would
Political
change that.
earthquake,
Yeah.
if he's able to beat Bass and get a majority. So I do think Democrats will squeak by, but it's a bad sign that Spencer Pratt has gotten so far. A bad sign for Democrats that Spencer Pratt has gotten so far, because it's clear people are getting fed up. Even in a deep blue state like California, they're getting fed up with what Democratic policies have brought them as a state.
Yeah, a lot of them are. But whether that represents a majority or not remains to be seen.
And I will point people to American Family News, AFN.net. We do have our very own Chad Groening has a story up. Prediction, Dems will edge past GOP challengers in California races. That's going on according with some analysis from political experts that Chad interviewed. But that's at AFN.net. So, folks, you need to check out American Family News. Got some great stuff up there.
Let me ask you this. Generally speaking, in California, why are Republicans statewide so disliked? Why Republicans have not been able to win a statewide race since Arnold Schwarzenegger was governor. He was a moderate Republican before that. I mean, this was a state that elected Ronald Reagan. What you're from there, Steve? What happened?
It was 1966. That's a long time ago.
Oh, Ronald Reagan?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that at one time they were real conservative.
Sure.
There were, and there still are, by the way. But once Democrats gained a majority in the House, they did what they are not Democrats are promising to do in the United States Senate, which is do away with the filibuster. It wasn't exactly a filibuster, but they made it almost impossible for Republicans to win. And so they have kept racking up victory after victory after victory to the point where it is numerically they have a veto-proof majority in all the houses of their legislature, the Assembly, and the Senate, and they have the governor's mansion, and they just keep their foot on the neck of the Republicans in the state. But it's
the
changing.
voters keep putting the Democrats back in time and time again.
Yeah.
So I mean, they are very popular. Democrats are in the state of California.
They have bought into the lie that socialism is going to work, that the liberals have
But
the answers.
I guess back to my original question: is there any one thing or two things that they would say Republicans are? We don't like Republicans because why?
I would say California, deliberately, the Democrats became very friendly to illegal immigrants.
Okay.
So they have a huge base of illegal immigrants there.
That and Democrats keep offering free stuff, and it's hard to.
It's all connected.
You know, a lot of people probably don't remember this. Maybe they do. When I was in high school, all right, so we're talking. I graduated in 1976. If I
what
got
year?
1976.
Wow.
I was a bicentennial.
Yeah.
I won a speech award. I still have the coin I got for winning a bicentennial speech contest.
Back in
because it was 1976.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, enough of patting my own back there. So if I got this right, New York was red. California was red. In the 60s on into the 70s, the South was blue. The Midwest was blue because of all the Union power. Some of the what we now consider deep blue states, like New York, California, they were red.
Yeah.
And over the decades, those things have changed. Partially, I think, because of social issues came to the fore with the moral majority, and people began to split on the basis of that. So anyway, it's fascinating to see how things change politically.
Yeah.
And there may come a time, if our republic lasts, when California turns red once again. Who knows?
Yep. Hey, CBS is looking. They say that they want to replace Anderson Cooper on 60 Minutes.
That's disappointing.
You know who they're going to bring in? Maybe
Who?
Joe Rogan.
Oh, come on.
No. CBS News is looking to replace Anderson Cooper with with podcast powerhouse Joe Rogan, according to sources as reported by Radar Online. Now, I got to tell you that they are mislabeling Joe Rogan. He is no conservative.
No, he's not. He's libertarian.
Very libertarian.
Very foul mouthed.
Oh, extremely foul mouthed.
This would be a mistake for Joe Rogan.
He's not going to do this. He's a podcaster.
He does well in that really informal setting. The people he interviews a lot of times, people who are pro marijuana or who talk about wrestling, and it's people who talk about UFOs and the use of ayahuasca, to contact spiritual entities.
The use of what now?
Ayahuasca. It's a drug.
I thought that was what you put on sushi.
Well, I hope not. Or what kind of restaurant?
Maybe I've been misled.
I hope you haven't been
I
ordering.
felt a little weird last week when I put that on sushi. Green stuff.
I'll tell you about machine elves after the show, but I think it would be a mistake for Joe Rogan. I don't think he could handle that pressure.
I don't.
He smokes a cigar. He drinks on his podcast. That's what he's made for that.
Yeah,
this is his lineup over the last day or two. Harlan Williams, a comedian, actor, musician, and filmmaker. Michelle Fowler, who's a astrophysicist. I was listening to that. They're talking about quantum entanglements and all kinds of stuff.
Right down my alley.
Yeah, you should. He is employed by the as an MMA analyst.
Yeah,
he's employed to do color commentary for the UFC.
He was in the movie, the Kevin James movie, Here Comes the Boom.
Yeah.
It was a great little part there.
Tom Segura, Skylar Gray. So these are people that if he finds someone interesting, he'll interview them for 3 hours.
And he knows enough about all these topics to ask questions and let his guests go.
Yeah.
Because he'll have physicists on, especially if they're talking about, I think that interview you're talking about with the physicists. Well, I think they was talking about aliens.
Well,
and quantum entanglement and aliens traveling. That's not going to go well, I don't think, with the CNN audience.
One of the things that she was talking with him about, which was frankly a little bit disturbing, is that AI is the natural evolution of man, and that's how we're going to basically
go out.
Yeah.
That's how it ends.
That's it. That's what they were saying. So I agree with you. I don't know that he's going to do
AI
it.
memes.
But CBS is under the mistaken thought that they're going to get a mega audience by getting him in, and they're not. So,
all right, you're listening to Today's Issues on American Family Radio. 4.5 more minutes of show to go.
All right.
And here comes Steve.
The FCC is considering new content ratings for TV shows that depict.
Is Alabama in this?
Alabama. No.
The FCC's what?
The FCC.
Oh, my bad. I misunderstood.
The Federal
Communications
Communications
I was going to say, they've won enough. Okay?
Yeah, they have.
Time for a little socialism, communism.
Roll Tide, I have to say that.
Yeah, okay, I know you do.
The Federal Communications Commission is considering new content ratings for TV shows that depict or discuss gender identity. According to the FCC, recently parents have raised concerns that controversial gender identity issues are being included or promoted in children's programming without providing any disclosure or transparency to parents. And so the industry guideline that parents rely on it's co-opting parents' ability to raise their children the way they want.
What they do, and you have to watch out for this today, and 1 Million Moms, our own group, has spoke to this. You got to watch out today because these lefties, they try to sneak stuff in on children's programs that you come to love and trust.
Right.
Or at least a lot of people have.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, they build your trust with a viewing audience, then they hit you with a transgendered, we've seen now when there's enough time to warn against this, like in movie promotions, these movies that try to force feed LGBTQ down children's throats have bombed.
Yeah.
The old expression "go woke, go broke" does apply to many of the movies, but TV shows, you don't know what's coming next week. A lot of times they just slide stuff in, sneak stuff into. Even with children's programs, you've got to be aware of what your kids are watching, especially on the internet.
Well,
and let me just, you mentioned 1 Million Moms. If you're a mom or a grandmom, you should go to 1millionmoms.com. They do have an action alert on this subject of the FCC.
Yes.
So if you're not a part of that, you'll be given all kinds of information and opportunities to act on these kinds of issues. Go to 1 Million Moms. You spell it out, 1millionmoms.com.
Yeah, go ahead, Fred.
And be on special alert, moms and dads, this month in particular. This is Gay Pride Month, and we know the networks, they will try to promote programs, put programs on the air, even kids programs, so sad, that promote that lifestyle. So be very careful this month.
Yeah, true. All right, we're about out of time, Steve. Are you looking for some good news?
I don't have a whole lot of good news. I got to tell you, this is what's crossed my mind. There are so many stories out there that I would like to bring in that are just too foul, for lack of a better term. I don't want to bring them in because they're foul, but they are stories that actually are important stories, but we can't talk about them on the air. We are, as a culture, becoming very, very foul, and that disappoints me.
That's true, sadly. All right, thank you, Steve, though, for
pleasure.
giving us some good stuff to talk about on the program.
Love the
today.
shirt once again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Got my LSG flamingos
on a black background.
That needs a lot of explanation, but we don't have time for it. Just trust us, folks. Steve's not on LSD.
No.
Okay.
Or ayahuasca.
Never, or ayahuasca or anything else.
Thanks to Fred, Ed, Steve, Brent Creeley, our producer, Cole Green, our video man, and
Video man.
Anyway, thank you for joining us today. Keep listening to American Family Radio.